Hey, you guys, welcome to another episode here of our Irish country life here on the west coast of Ireland. My name, of course, is Nikolai, and together with Scooter, Chris is in London, so I'm afraid I'm the film editor for today, and I've already been in trouble with Chris for bad filming. However, it's not my job. But anyway, you try telling him that. So, Scooter has headed off out today to the park with his friend Teddy, who's moved in down the road. So that's going to be a lovely friendship. They get on. He's a really beautiful golden retriever, and he is just like a giant teddy bear. So that's going to be a nice friendship, as he really, really misses Maggie and Doug down the lane. So today I'm going to do for you some really, really easy, foolproof, no-fail cheese scones, because later on we're going to be doing a little bit of planting in the garden. I've been to my friend Anne out in Screen, and we've been digging deep and we've been getting some plants for the temple garden, but I'll tell you that story a little bit later on. So we're going to have a nice cheddar cheese Plowmans lunch later with a cup of tea. So after all our hard work of planting, of course. So we'll get on with the planting once we've made the scones and they're in the oven. And so, very simply, all we need a tray for the oven lined. In our bowl, I have a sieve, and in that sieve I have 275 grams of self-raising flour. I have a half a teaspoon of salt, and I have a half a teaspoon of baking powder. Here I have 80 grams of butter, which has been chilled and cubed into really small little cubes. I have in this bowl, I have 90 grams of plain natural Greek yogurt. I also have 1 egg, and I have 1 teaspoon of mustard, nice strong mustard, and 2 big tablespoons of milk. And I'm just going to literally whisk all that together so it's all combined. The mustard gives the scones a nice little bit of heat. Okay, so literally you just want to combine those together. Also in this bowl here, I have 80 grams of grated cheese. It can be whatever cheddar you like, but it must be cheddar. I also have in there about 10 grams or 15 grams of Parmesan, really nice Parmesan cheese, just to give that little bit of extra kick for the cheesy flavor. But these cheese scones are delicious if you're having a nice bowl of homemade soup, or if you just fancy a cheese scone with a knob of butter, or I like it with some Branston pickle or some lovely relish, homemade relish, big wedge of cheese, and a nice cup of tea, which we'll be having later in the garden. So all we're going to do is in our bowl, we're going to sieve our flour, our salt, and our baking powder, just to make sure there's no lumps in the flour. Okay, and we have a few left in the sieve, and we'll just run them through the sieve. Okay, then what we need to do is we need to pop in our cheese. And the reason why we're going to pop our cheese into our flour is to coat our cheese in flour so that it gets a little coating so it doesn't all sink to the bottom of the scone. Okay? And get your hands in there and just coat that cheese with the flour. This is really, really simple stuff here, guys. Really simple. Okay. Then once we've done that, we're going to add our butter, our cubed butter, and we're going to rub that between our fingertips, literally until it resembles fine breadcrumbs. So the smaller you dice the butter, the quicker and easier it will be for it to end up resembling fine breadcrumbs. Once we've got it to that stage, we will then make a well in the center and we will add the wet ingredients. Now, I have put 2 tablespoons of milk. However, depending on how dry the flour is, we may need to add another tablespoon. So we'll see how we go with that. But I'd rather have not enough and then add a little more than have too much, because then you have to start adding extra flour and then it really, really changes the texture of the scone. Okay, you guys. So after rubbing in between 3 and 5 minutes, your mixture should resemble nice, golden, fine breadcrumbs with no lumps. Okay? And then into that, we're going to add our wet mix. I'm just going to make a well in the center. Take our yogurt, mustard, egg, milk. We're going to mix that together. And then we're going to add that into the center and add our dry ingredients then into it. Make sure you get all that nice yogurt and milk, mustard out of the bowl. in there. Okay, and then we're just going to literally bring it together with a knife. Okay. And once that's all come together with the knife, we're going to get stuck in there with our hand and bring it together into a ball. And then we're not going to use rolling pin or anything like that, because we're not going to flatten the air out of these lovely, delicious scones. We're going to keep them as light as possible. So try not to overwork your mixture, because you'll start to bring out the gluten in the flour and it'll make your scones tough. We don't want tough scones. We want nice soft scones. So literally get your hand in there and just start bringing it all together with your hand. It might not look like it's going to come together, and it may even look a bit too dry, but actually it does come together if you just work with it for a couple of minutes. And it smells amazing. That little bit of Parmesan cheese, I mean, it's literally, I'd probably say 15, maximum 20 grams of Parmesan gone in there. It just really, really gives it a nice scent, a nice cheesy smell to our cheese scones. Okay, so that's formed our bowl, what we wanted. We're not going to need to let this rest or anything. We're literally just going to pop it onto we're going to lightly flour our surface, okay, with a little bit of flour, not too much. We're going to shape it into a nice circle, and as we're shaping it, we're going to flatten it, okay, and you want these to be about 1 centimeter thick, okay. And then I've just got my fluted scone cutter there, and okay, I think that should be about enough. And my fluted scone cutter, and what I'm going to do is just dip it into a little bit of flour, okay, and push down. Remember, you don't twist, because if you twist, you seal the edges of the scone and then it prohibits it from rising. So let's get our tray here ready next to us, okay, and just lift and pop your scone out then onto your tray. Try and get one more if you can for him for when he comes back from his lovely walk. I'm not sure if he's going to invite Teddy in. We'll have to wait and see. If he does, I'm sure we'll have a scone for Teddy as well. Cheese scone won't do any of them any harm. Okay, so from that we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, we've got an odd number. We've got 9, which is 1 for a scooter, definitely. And we'll put a little one. We've got a little bit of pastry dough left, so let's pop this in for Teddy. He's gorgeous. He's a big long-haired golden retriever and really does just look just like a teddy bear. Delicious. Okay, that is our cheese scones ready. We don't need to egg wash. We don't need to do anything. We're just going to pop them into the oven as they are for 15 minutes, and we're going to pop them into 220-degree fan, gas mark 7, or if you, like me, you have the Aga already preheated, into the top shelf of the Aga for 15 minutes, and they'll become lovely and golden and really, really delicious. So don't forget to set your timer for 15 minutes, because nobody wants burnt cheese scones. And we're going to be working hard now doing some planting, so we need them for when we come back. So we'll see you all a little bit later. Join me in the garden where we'll do some planting now. Okay, you guys, so the scones are in the oven, and I'm down here now in the temple garden, and I want to tell you a little bit about what happened with the temple garden. So I created the temple garden about 3 years ago, and I went to visit a friend of mine's garden. She had the most beautiful, really tall, lovely serrated leaf plant with yellow spikes of flowers, and I said, "Oh, Anne, I really love that." And she said, "That's a bit of a thug." She goes, "I wouldn't really like to give you that." And I said, "Okay, well, nothing's ever really a thug in my garden." So I said, "I'll have some anyway." So I took some. And last year, it was the bane in my life. It took over the temple garden. Nothing else would grow around it. So I immediately got to grips with it, and I pulled it all out. And thankfully, it has all disappeared. There is still some up in the kitchen garden, which I will eradicate later in the next couple of weeks. But for now, I needed to get rid of it. So it's gone, but that left me with the temple garden having to restart all over again. So I went to Anne the other day, and we went out into her garden, and I got some lovely plants from her. we do that, you see, as part of the Sligo Secret Gardens, which if you're ever about and you want to visit some nice gardens, then it's wonderful to do so. And we will be open for 2 dates this year. I think my dates are the 30th, Sunday the 30th of June and Sunday the 14th of July. They're my 2 dates for opening, and our charity will be Pieta House. So we'll be raising money for the wonderful Pieta House, who do so much work for suicide. And we'll have lots of tea and cake, and we'll be showing around the gardens and everything that's in bloom on those 2 days. So I went over to visit her for coffee the other day, and I explained to her what was happening with the Temple Garden, and I needed to get some plants in for the opening of the garden this year. And so I wanted to try some bits that I hadn't tried in the Temple Garden before. So I didn't want to go to the garden centre and spend a lot of money and then realise that actually they weren't going to work. So we went out into the garden with the spade and we dug deep and we got some lovely plants. So I'm going to show you now some of the things that I got. Scooter's here with me as well, everybody. Just say hello to Scooty. He's out helping me do all the planting. He's supervising. Okay, you guys, I just want to show you the most beautiful magnolia tree in all its glory here by the Temple Garden. It's in full bloom at the moment as we speak. Really beautiful. Full of these beautiful flowers, almost like a cupped tulip. Really stunning. A lovely, lovely pale pink. So this tree was absolutely full of them, but we had some very windy weather recently, and so it tended to knock all the flowers to the ground. So now we're going to delve in to the 2 pots of lovely goodies that I got from my friend Anne, and we're going to see what's in there. But I don't know if you can hear the beautiful sound of the wind chime. It was ringing away there, but the wind has calmed down a little. There is Scooter, keeping an eye over his territory from Harold. Okay, so let's have a look in this box and see what we've got. So the first thing we've got is we've got a piece of Tillema grandiflora. And this is very, very good for ground cover, for suppressing the weeds, and it has the most beautiful, beautiful, delicate pink flower on a tall spike. Round about this time, maybe in another couple of weeks, you can just about see the flowers are about to pop out on it there. So Tillema grandiflora. We also got some lovely innulas, and we got this really nice plant which I actually don't know the name of. Again, it's a very good ground cover, almost like it likes a woodlandy type setting. So we've got lots of space for that down here in the Temple Garden, and that has lovely, again, delicate white, very pale, pale pink flowers. If anybody knows the name of that, they could maybe write it in the comments, because I do know the name, but it's in the back of my head, but it won't come to the front. That happens to me quite a lot. Okay, it's a beautiful spring day here. I know that I was speaking with Chris in London and he said it's really, really cold, but it's actually not that cold here. It's a little bit windy, but very sunny. And then we've got some innula, and actually on this section there is probably about 3 or 4 plants, which I will divide up. And this is the most amazing big leaf plant. I love big leaf plants. The bigger the leaf, the better the plant for me. I'm all about the leaves. And this has then a flower, which is almost like a large daisy, not daisy, dandelion, or a very small sunflower. So it's a yellow spidery leaf flower, really, really nice. And it's for the leaf that I grow this plant, because I just love it. Sometimes the leaves get this size. Really amazing plant. Also, I've got 2 rose bushes, which Anne grew from snips. And this one is called Bonica, which has a beautiful white rose. And then we have a lovely, lovely one here called Margaret Merrill, and they will be going in along the rose walk. Then in the next pot, I have a Rudbeckia, which is a very, very tall plant. So it needs to go into the back of the border. So I'll be placing it in the back. And it has, again, a lovely yellow flower with a black center. So it's called Black-Eyed Susan. And it's a Rudbeckia. But it's the tall version, because they do a short one as well. Then also in this goodie pot, I have got some Ligulata. And this is the Ligulata spike. And this is the one that I really like. I have lots of it in my garden, but I still stole some from Anne because she has a lot more of it than me. And I will divide this up into about 6 or 7 pieces, and I will plant this all around the temple garden and along the kitchen garden. And that has a lovely, big, tall yellow spike of flowers. It's a Ligulata that's not very invasive. Also in here, I have some roots for Lobelia tupa. Anne has one of these, and it's a stunning, stunning bush in her garden. I have tried several times to get it to grow, and the only success I've had is I put some of these sections into a pot, a plastic pot, last year, and I left it in the greenhouse, and it's coming out. But I'm going to leave it in the pot again this year, and I'm going to let it grow on for one more year before I decide to actually put it all into the ground. Because, like I said, I've tried it in the ground so many times here at Heathfield, and it doesn't seem to work. But I'm determined to have one in my garden somewhere. So I will take these pieces and I will also pot them up ready for next year. And hopefully the one for this year I'll plant out next year. And so that is the conclusion of what I've got in my 2 pots from the lovely Anne in Skring. So now I will get on with planting these, and I will work up a complete appetite to go back inside, and we will treat ourselves to a lovely, lovely cheese scone Plowmans and a nice cup of hot tea. So come join me and Scooter for something nice to eat. Okay, you guys, so the time has come for that delicious, delicious cheese Plowmans on those delicious cheese scones. So I'm down here in the temple garden with Scooter, who keeps threatening to get up on the table and take my scones, and I will just have to murder him if he does. So I'm just going to show you my Plowman's lunch, what I've got ready. So I'm all set up here on my table, my cushion and my chair with Scooter. And there we have a lovely cup of tea, some of our amazing cheese scones, and we have our Plowman's Lunch, which is our cheese scone with some beetroot, some lovely homemade apple chutney, which is quite spicy, some nice pickled onions, a gherkin, an apple, and some lovely vintage Irish cheddar cheese. And just to wash all that down, a lovely hot cup of tea and some lovely interior magazines to try to give me a little inspiration. And there you can see that little rascal peering over the table waiting for a cheese scone. We might just have to give him one. And because the afternoon has changed slightly, we've come prepared with our... Nothing is going to rain on my parade today with my cheese scones Plowman. Nothing. So, And my friends, I also forgot. Don't forget, if you like what you saw today, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss another vlog again. Until next time, take care, my friends. Bye-bye.